Who's the leader of the pack? Bringing legacy to you. Legacy, it's true. Stand up, gear up, join the fight. We're as fierce as we can be. With grit and might, we claim the night. We're the Legacy. Legacy Club. Legacy Club. Strong and unbreakable. Warriors with fire inside. In our hearts we're invincible. Legacy Club.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's that time again. It's that time again, kids. It's the It's the Legacy Club podcast by Leal Legacy. That's the way it's supposed to come out of my mouth, but that's not the way it almost came out of my mouth. My name is Justin. Presuming most of you know that already. I think it might be a heavy clearing of the throat episode. So if you are disgusted by that sound, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. And then for the rest of you who it's not going to bother, thanks for staying. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out. You know, a lot's happened. A lot has happened. A lot has happened that I won't be discussing on this episode because my wife and I have created other outlets now that she and I together will be sharing our thoughts of all the announcements and news and info coming out of D23 2024. So all you fellow Disney adults out there, stay tuned. Stay tuned. So recently, I went to my wife and said, hey, I'd much rather do all of this with you. You know, she and I have been talking about doing like a vlog channel for, I don't know, probably ever since the very beginning when we got together, like pushing 6 years ago. But it never really came to fruition ever. I don't know. Probably mostly my hyper-focused in rearranging Leal Legacy and then what was once Skeleton Crew and then, you know, doing all of that over and over and over again and just like recreating the same thing over and over and over again. And she would watch me do it and she'd be like, hey, why are you doing things the way you're doing them? And I never had a good answer. Ever, you know? Just, it was what it was. And then, I don't remember exactly what triggered it, but I ultimately, something. We were talking again about doing like a vlog channel and all this kind of stuff, and then the podcast with it, and you know, so on and so forth. And I think I took her advice on something, and whenever I do, the advice that she gives me drastically improves whatever I was showing her. And I'm not saying all of this to like gas her up or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is, right? She's talented. And I think after the however thousandth time her advice proved successful, invaluable, I don't know, appreciated. I was finally like, hey, I can't do this without you. I'm spinning my wheels in the same spot constantly for just time in infinite, it would seem. So please help me. And then she was like, please help you. Like, we're doing our own thing. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I just can't do I can't do even my thing without your aid. And I don't know. I don't know what happened. For the longest time when we were talking about doing like the vlog channel and stuff, she wanted it, I feel like she wanted it independent from Leal Legacy, maybe. I don't know. But I didn't want to branch out too far. You know what I mean? I wanted to stay focused on a brand. I didn't want too many plates spinning, because I've played that game. I've played the game of like multiple podcasts and trying to like keep up with them, and then I don't know, man. It's just, if you've been following along for the last few years, you know what I'm talking about. So when it was something that was like independent aside from Leal Legacy, I think my narcissism wouldn't like, I didn't want to I didn't allow myself to like do that. But is it narcissism? No, it's not. It's trying to be productive on a vision and not becoming distracted from said vision, especially when this vision is all I got, like, in the way of a career at the moment. I mean, that's not entirely true. I do assist in the coaching of children how to choke people, but that's not a career necessarily. Although you know what? I'll get into this in a bit. I don't know if I talked about it in the last episode. No, I didn't. The last episode, I was very deep into rabble rousing. Not this time. This time is just, word vomit. Stream of consciousness. So we'll get back to what I was going to say. Let's finish this. Sorry, that was right in the mic. I've been trying to like move it so you didn't hear that in your head, but I digress and I apologize. Where was I? Yeah. So I didn't want to do subconsciously, I think, because I was always like into the idea of like, yeah, of course we're going to do a vlog channel. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was never in my mind that it wasn't going to happen, but subconsciously, just the the devotion to execution. Wow, that's a cool album name. Devotion to Execution. It's either a terrible band name or an awesome album name. Like, who would have that? I want to say Danzig, but it's not. It's not like romantic enough for Danzig. Although Devotion to Execution's pretty romantic, I think. Not in the sense of I love you, but in the sense of like, Interview with the Vampire kind of romantic, if you know what I mean. But anyhow, we were in our kitchen, and I told her I can't do this without you. And then we started talking about like, doing our thing, and ultimately, I don't know if she had a change of heart or if she forgot, or I don't know what happened. But I was like, yeah, I want it to be all like Leal Legacy adjacent. I want it to be an extension of what's already established. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. And like it had always been in her mind that it would be that way, and maybe it was, and I just didn't understand. But anyhow, we the Leal Legacy is full force Leal Legacy now. It's a family effort, and it's cool. So we do have and in this realization and like decision and path forward. She had always told me, on your YouTube, you have too many different things going on. They're all good, but they're all like jumbled together. And in my mind, I was like, no, that's keeping it all under one umbrella. The cartoon commentaries, the podcast, then the vlogmentary, and then like the POV videos. I was like, yeah, keep it all in one place. And she was like, no, because if you gain viewership for one of those things, they're going to get annoyed seeing all the other stuff if that's not what they're into. Sure, you're going to have the crossover of people liking everything, but that's not all people. All people don't like everything. And after the millionth time she told me that, I was like, okay, you're right about that too. I'm really making like a conscious effort to hear her out in a professional avenue. Realm. I always appreciated her her abilities, like her profession. Like she has her own family photography company and business and does everything herself. Well, she does all the creative things herself. She'll have me paint her studio, so it's not, you know what I mean. I lend quite the helping hand, if I do say so myself, and I love to. I'll complain about it, you know, like I'll whine and moan about it, but I'll always do everything I can to help her. But I yeah, I don't know. I had a weird sense of like not I don't play well with others. You know what I mean? I don't play well with others. I married this woman, so you know, I'll be playing with her till the end of time, and if I'm able to play with her in life, then why not see if that works on a professional level too. So whenever she has an idea, I hear her out and I'll give it a go, and it's going well. It's going very well, and I regret not discussing this more in depth previously, because we probably could have had a really epic jump on all of this. But anyhow, so I took her advice, and now the Leal Legacy YouTube, it's still at Leal Legacy. Everything is still at Leal Legacy something or other, you know what I mean? So the branding is still there, but now the Leal Legacy YouTube is the Legacy Club YouTube, where it will be this podcast and then like all my commentaries and stuff. So it's just a channel of me talking. And then we've developed other channels in conjunction with this channel. I had already done that for Bane with Leal Legacy Gaming. He wanted a streaming outlet to like play video games and stuff like that and make videos. I'm like, hey man, let's build your branch of Leal Legacy, you know? It's our family legacy is the idea of the brand of the company. So we can all do stuff under this, you know, brand umbrella. So, and then Bane's having quite a bit of success. I think it's success. It's not like monetarily or anything like. It's not using that gauge of what success, but his channel's growing. He's getting subscribers. He's really committed to, like, he pumps out almost maybe too many videos, but it's all him gaming. He games all day for the most part anyway, so we're making something of it. He's building a thing. He's building his little legacy, you know? So seeing that, I was like, okay, having multiple channels is cool because for a time Bane was streaming his gameplay on the Leal Legacy YouTube channel, and it was just like, with the amount of videos he does or the amount of streaming he does, for sure it was like, I'd look at the analytics and stuff like that and be like, wait, where's the video I posted? It's underneath 27 Fortnite videos and 32 Roblox videos. So it was kind of like, okay, let's start chopping this up into a more reasonable way to digest for the viewer and for, me on the back end. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take your advice finally and build these other channels with this start dividing up the content. So the Leal Legacy channel is now the Legacy Club. That's this. It's my commentaries. It's all that kind of stuff that I think most people who subscribe to this channel or the Leal or the YouTube, that's kind of what they were there for anyway. I don't know if they were there for like a POV video of Pirates of the Caribbean for the 15th time. But there is a channel for that now, a dedicated channel for all the POV videos that we shoot, just a lot of at the parks, but it's going to be a lot of just POV of our life. And that YouTube channel is called Legacy View. And then the URL is Leal Legacy View, because it's going to be Leal and Legacy is a part of all of this. Like Bane's gaming channel is, at Leal Legacy Gaming. So we got our Legacy View POV channel. I've started crafting songs, and I was putting those up on the Leal Legacy channel too. And that, the missus was right. She was right. She was right when she said too much gets bogged down. The people who are here for this aren't going to find that because of all of the rest of this. So then we have so all the songs that I craft and put together are on their own dedicated channel, and that channel translates over to YouTube Music as well. So it's Leal Legacy Music, real simple. And then our family vlog, I'm not even going to try to say that again. Okay, one more time. Our family vlog channel, there we go, is, here you go, you ready for this? Legacy of Leal. Kind of like Wonderful World of Disney, but not as whimsical as that. Legacy of Leal is our family vlog channel. And all these channels, home base is leallegacy.com, and that's how it's going to go from here. So if you want to watch all of it, subscribe to all the different channels. Or subscribe to, sorry, I burped. Excuse me. It was an internal one, which they're always hot. You know what I mean? You ever do those like internal burps and then you breathe out and it's like, whew, that breath is warmer than normal. It's not like acid reflux. There's no reflux, but it's just like, it's hot air. Anyhow, so subscribe to what you want. Hopefully you want all of it, but if you don't, now you don't have to be forced to see all of it. So tell me if that works. I think it does. I am trying to post to all the channels roughly on a daily basis, multiple times a week. I'm aiming for daily, but I'm not only doing this, but I'm also dadding all day. A 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So, we'll see. We'll see if the goal of every day is accomplished. But if it's not, that's okay. It'll still be multiple times a week on all the channels. Our family vlog channel, I don't know. I think we want to aim for, multiple postings a week as well with that. So all of that to say, yeah, it's going to be Content City. Let's check it all out. Check it all out. That was a little bit of like unintentional or I don't know. I didn't expect to do a bunch of little like housekeeping, but I had to let everybody know what's going on. So there'll also be a podcast on our Legacy of Leal channel as well. So I'm not sure exactly what the podcast will entail. I don't know if we're just gonna. I don't know. There'll probably be a corresponding video element to each podcast that we post to the YouTube channel as well. But we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. We're headed down to Disney in like less than 2 weeks now, and that's where we're really gonna like dive in head first with doing it. You know what I mean? Not doing it like we're married. I mean, we dove head first into that a while ago. Family friendly, and that's a thing too. On our Legacy of Leal channel, it's a family vlog channel, so it's going to be very family friendly. Wholesome content for the kids and parents alike. On the Legacy Club channel, still family friendly, but that's this channel, this podcast. It's all a realm of who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth? But it'll always be. It'll always be polite, maybe, probably. I do try very hard to not have a potty mouth on these things. Back in the day, I would let it fly. I gave no fudges about my language. I don't know when that changed. It hasn't changed in like my normal life. My normal life, I still speak like a sailor all day, every day, Just ask my kids. But for whatever reason, I try to keep it cool here. Because I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to be able to relate to everybody. All people. Don't want to hang out with anyone, but I'd like to relate to you. Like, you and I will never go get a cup of coffee together, but unless you're listening to this and you go get a cup of coffee. Like, you're listening to this as you go to work. Hey, can I say Starbucks sucks? By the way, since we're here, since I have your attention at the coffee shop, I hope it's not Starbucks, because Starbucks blows. Like, their coffee is gross. Disgusting. Like, wretched. And I know that's not, like, is that not a popular consensus? You know what? Thinking about it right now, I think I got to figure it out. It's the people who like Starbucks are the people who get like the really fluffy, floofy, sugary drinks. That's who likes Starbucks. And okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Just, I will concede my, to my stance here a little bit, or from my stance, away from my stance. I will concede that their floofy drinks are delicious. That I will not deny. But it's a dessert. You know what I mean? Like, how often do you get a yucky dessert? Rarely. I mean, it happens. It definitely happens. But more often than not, if it's a sweet treat, you're not going to necessarily, it rarely will you dislike it. It might not be your favorite flavors, or maybe you don't care. I'm very picky. but I'm also different in the way that even at Starbucks, like I don't put anything in my coffee. That's a lie. Sometimes, if I remember, I'll splash some cinnamon. I'll dust a little cinnamon in my coffee. And if you haven't tried that, you should. But that's it. That's as far as I'll go. Never sugar, never like a creaming element, nothing. Just, mean. I like black coffee. Sorry, I got distracted thinking about the Punisher. The scene where he's in the diner with Karen and they're like sitting across from each other, and he like says something to the waitress about his coffee or whatever, and he says the most epic line. Okay, another side tangent away from. I'll get back to the original point if I remember what it was. What's his name? John Barenthal is the perfect casting for Frank Castle, which is bizarre because he's not Frank Castle. If you watch him in interviews or listen to interviews, he is an actor. He is a man of his craft. Like, he takes acting very seriously. He's passionate about it. He's an actor. You know what I mean? But he's such a good actor that when you're watching him as the Punisher, you just think it's Frank Castle. Like, you think this guy exists out in the world, and I guess that's a staple of a phenomenal actor. But yeah, the man off screen, I think he's still a tough guy, but he's a fancy man too. He's but kind of like Hugh Jackman's the same way. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, and he's just like real brutish and gruff, and hey bub, and like you know what I mean. Like, you've seen Hugh Jackman be Wolverine, like not just in Deadpool and Wolverine, but like the Wolverine he's been playing for the last like 20 years. Isn't that crazy? But Wolverine is also the greatest showman. You know what I mean? He does a musical where he's a singing, dancing P.T. Barnum. And it's just like, as an actor. And you see him in interviews and stuff, and he's an actor. You know what I mean? He's not Wolverine off screen, just like John Barenthal is not Frank Castle off screen, and that's fine. But he's perfect as Frank Castle, and I never want to see another Punisher. I don't want them to recast him. I don't want any of that. Keep him the Punisher forever until AI can I hope he sells his image to Marvel and Disney to where they can just use him as the Punisher forever. Like, give us AI versions of this guy as the Punisher. But he says the most epic line in that like diner scene. Like, they're sitting there drinking coffee. He's talking to Karen, and he's looking out the window, and he kind of like gets a little distracted. And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing. Just a couple of guys who are about to walk into a diner for the last time." And dude, that is one of my that might be my favorite line ever in all things. But Gangs of New York, Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher, has some epic lines in there too. And then what's funny? That's my favorite line, but my favorite scene with Frank Castle is when he has Daredevil chained up to like a chimney or something on the roof of a building in New York City, and he's like, they're having this conversation of like morality and what they do, and Frank's like, we're not different. I'm just a man who sees it through. I'm not a half measure. You're a half measure. You'll beat up the bad guy, but I stop the bad guy. I end the bad guy. I make sure that the bad guy can't go back out and do bad guy things ever again. It's done. It's over. You put him away. You put him away and hope for the best. But you know what? These people aren't the best. Or if they are the best, what they're the best at is something that the world doesn't need. And it's just like, oh man, they're back and forth. It was, as somebody who read the comics, that was just beautiful. Chef's kiss. So anyway, I digress. Back to Starbucks coffee being horrible. And I like a bad cup of coffee. I like a mean cup of coffee. I like an offensive cup of coffee, but it has to still be good. And I don't know what it is, because I can go into a Waffle House and have their coffee, and I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting dirty water, and that's fine. That's okay. I'd rather have a Waffle House coffee than just black Starbucks coffee, because Starbucks coffee is burnt. It's burnt, and it's just wretched. It's not good. It's poorly executed. And I don't know. I guess, is it a franchise thing? Are they roasting the beans at the establishment? I think they are, because back when I still lived in San Diego, on the streets of OB, I hung out at a place called Seth's Chop Shop, and that's where, in my more greaser of days, that's where I got it was so Seth's Chop Shop was a barber shop, a hair salon, and a tattoo shop, among other things that we won't get into. But that was the public facing business of it all. It was a hair place and a tattoo shop, but it was themed. It had like a rockabilly theme, kind of greaser theme, or it just, that's what it was. It was a landmark of Ocean Beach. Seth has been there since I don't know, the beginning of time, and it was a hang. You know what I mean? Like, you go skate, stop at the shop, hang out, sit around, maybe get tattooed. I was like Seth of Seth's Chop Shop. I found myself in a position where I was like his little buddy, his sidekick, his little brother kind of thing. So I spent a lot of time there. But I got my first tattoo there, and it's not in the same place as it was during the time period I was frequenting. I sometimes I'm like, I come off like Porky Pig, right? Get peanuts, like it's just, I can't get words out sometimes. Long story short, not really long story short, but the point I'm trying to make is it's no longer in the same location now as it was then. Then it attached, kind of, it shared a wall or multiple walls with Starbucks. So the shop always had a smell of like that tattoo soap and roasting coffee. And then like the ocean air. So very distinct aroma. That I wish I had like a candle of. That'd be a fun scent. It wasn't necessarily like a bad smell, but it was a very distinct smell that nowhere else smelled like. So yeah, that being said, I do believe that they do roast the coffee there. And is it just like an amateur move? Is it neglect? Is it poor training? Or what is it? What is it? But that's not even that. Not even that. Even when you get like the K cups and you make, a Starbucks coffee at home, it still has that taste. It still has that taste of like just burnt. Even a medium roast just tastes too toasty, and it makes it yucky to me. And it's so acidic. Like, it's just nasty. So I don't get it. I don't get why you people like Starbucks. But anyhow, I don't know where that tangent came from. But I'm trying to backtrack to what I was saying. But see, that's a perfect example of the dichotomy of all our legacy channels now. the legacy of Leal with my wife is going to make a lot more sense, I think. There's going to be a lot more direction. But if you want to hear chaos, this is the place for that. Yeah, Starbucks sucks. Did I have a point beyond that? I don't think I did. There was a point that I was making before. D23 just happened. And I think since the last time I recorded, Comic-Con happened as well. And those are things that the Legacy of Leal podcast, we're going to go in depth in. My wife and I are diehard Disney fanatics, so it's going to be very Disney heavy content over there. It's not going to be the only things we talk about or vlog about, but it's going to be substantial. Oh yeah, we're going to Disney in a couple weeks. That's what I was saying. We're going to Disney in a couple weeks, and we're really going to get we're going to get it, and we're going to do it. There'll be a lot of vlogging around Nashville though too, so it's just, I don't know. We're hitting the ground running there. I think she may feel differently, but that's my point of view. Was all that interesting to hear? I didn't move the mic again when I cleared my throat that time either. Sorry. But yeah, a lot of news. A lot of news came out. A lot of announcements. That if you want to hear my more in-depth takes, go check, the episode that we've yet to record. We were supposed to record it today, but she had an allergy. Something happened. So I had her take some Benadryl and she zonked out. I don't know, man. We went and picked up, I painted one of her studio rooms, and after the painting, she was like, "You know what? I think it needs the same floor as we have in our kitchen." So she ordered flooring. We went and picked up the flooring, and on the way to go pick up the flooring, she was like, "My eyes are itching so bad that it's taking everything in me not to claw them out of my head." Now, when I say that, it kind of sounds like a crazy person, but I assure you, it wasn't coming from it wasn't a crazy person in the moment. So before we went and actually got the flooring, we came back to the house. I got her some Benadryl, and she, conked out. I get tired too when I take Benadryl, but I think it really hits her in a more aggressive way. But so does caffeine and stuff like that too. So I don't know. Human physiology is so interesting that the same substances or products or what have you affects everybody so differently. Like I said, I get tired. I'll take some Benadryl whenever, and it'll knock me out as well. But I don't know. I don't take it during the day. And this was an extraordinary case though, because I don't know. Her eyes were swelling kind of because they were so irritated. She wears contacts too, so I'm wondering if that had something to do with it. I had to take a sip of water. Again, clearing the throat. I don't know. I told you it was going to be a lot of it. And I feel bad. I get kind of self-conscious when I clear my throat on the mic. Legacy Leal, Leal View, or Legacy View, Leal Legacy Music. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. So hopefully, um, it'll all go places. It's gonna be a thing. We're gonna be like those other successful vloggers. And you know what, man? We're in a reality now where if you have the drive to do something like that or the gumption to do something like that, I really think you should. Because, keep hearing that during Biden's reign in the White House, they've created however many jobs, but it was like, wait, tons of jobs were created? Then why are there so many people applying for like the same jobs that I am? Like, there's a lot of people. Why are so many people being laid off? I was laid off. I was in the third round of layoffs. Like, I dodged 2 rounds of layoffs because I'm awesome, I guess. But alas, the third time, I didn't make the cut. I got the cut. And it was just like, it was from a tech company. And all these tech companies, like, all you see is layoff after layoff after layoff. I mean, all the way up to Disney. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how you can say there's tons of jobs, but there seems to be more layoffs. I don't know. I need more water. I'm getting dried out. Because I'm out of practice, man. I'm out of practice with this podcasting thing. I'm getting back into a groove. So I'm excited about that. There's been quite a bit being posted up on the Legacy Club YouTube and, starting these other channels too. So the groove has been reestablished, but I got to get better at talking again. I get very, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with running the AC though too. It gets dry. It gets dry in here. Anyhow, none of this is relevant to anything, I guess. I'm just kind of talking. But yeah, what I was saying, I really think if you have the capacity of doing something like this, I highly recommend it. I really think more jobs are just going to be taken off the table. Like, this AI stuff, man, there's no fighting against it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, common sense. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but there's that whole, when I heard that Tyler Perry, not that I mean I don't know if I've ever seen a Tyler Perry movie, but I know there's a lot of them. I know he pumps out a lot of stuff. And he was at one point, I think, building like an $800 million studio down in Atlanta, maybe somewhere. And then he saw what Sora, the video AI, he saw its capabilities. Not even now, like earlier, prior to right now, he saw it and he was like, oh, halt everything. Stop. There's no sense in building this gigantic studio when, like, this is what we're going to be dealing with. You know what I mean? I was going to say this is what we're up against, but it doesn't have to be against. You just have to adapt with the time and, get good at the new tools. You know what I mean? Like, it's just evolution. That's what it is. I still have friends out there who are like, "Nah, I don't mess with AI. I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to." And it's just like, I don't know. That's the way to do it. I don't know if that's the way to look at it. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to all of it because let me tell you, I'm not a musician by any stretch of the imagination, but I can craft a really good song by using AI. You know, it's just crazy. It's nuts. And I went to film school. And like knowing now, had I known then what I know now, which would have been impossible. But it's just like, man, all that time and money and just like it was a great experience. You know, I'll always stand by that, but what I learned is already like out of date knowledge. But it's going to be drastically different very, very soon. Like I'm curious to see exactly where it all goes, but I'm not I'm not I'm not fighting it. I guess you can't really be excited about something and fight against it. And like, so that's, you know, kind of redundant what I just said, but it's just I highly recommend finding a path that can't be taken away from you, I guess, necessarily. You know what I mean? Find a path in life that you can't be laid off from. I don't know. But anyhow, I don't know how I got to that point. But everything I said, I think made enough sense. What was I talking about before that? Oh yeah, so yeah, on our my wife and I's channel, Legacy of Leal, that's gonna be, we're gonna get into a whole lot of stuff about like the announcements at D23 and Comic-Con there. But you know what? I can say some stuff. I just don't want to get too deep into it and then just repeat myself, you know, with what we do. Because that's just the same thing over and over again. The idea is to keep everything unique, so you subscribe to all of it and digest all the content going up. But some interesting things, like at Comic-Con, they did a big reveal of their new path forward with the MCU and the Avengers and all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you, I'm intrigued. I think they got lucky. After, what's his name? Jonathan Major or something or other. I think that's his name. The guy playing Kang. That they were building this whole phase upon got canceled. So in the day and age we live in, his cancellation resulted in we're not using you anymore, and that's very difficult to do when the person you're not gonna use anymore is the same person that you've made the focal point of everything you're doing. But at the same time, in saying that, like, I haven't. Where did I fall off? In the MCU? I think it was She-Hulk. It was She-Hulk where I was just kind of like, ugh, I'm done. I can't find it in me to care anymore. And I tried to watch Miss Marvel as well, and it was just like, too much of this is not for me anymore. And you know what? The more I think about this, and Black Panther 2, that bummed me out as well. Like, it just, the stories themselves just were not as strong as what they once were. Like, it just felt too, I don't know what the right wording is. It just felt too adventurous, maybe. And you might hear that and go, what do you mean too adventurous? That's a good thing. Take some chances, like develop something fascinating, develop something new, develop something cool. But what I mean by that is, like, it got too far from I guess the source material, but it was never like overly accurate to all the source material. It was just very, they just shot into left field, and it was just kind of like, I it's obvious you're doing something different, and the different that you're doing is not good. So as a result of them having to just like throw their hands up and go, we've lost course here. Like, we're off. We went left when we should have gone right, and now we're here, and it's just it's a headache. So they got lucky that they were going down the Secret Wars path, and opening this whole understanding of, like, the multiverse, because the multiverse plays very heavily, or did play very heavily. I haven't read comics in a pretty long while, but when I did read, the multiverse was very common, not like commonplace. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it wasn't outrageous. And that was something that, in the heyday of the MCU, they were really good at doing things like that left you going, wow. I never expected them to do that, and I never expected them to do it and it be so good. And that goes all the way back to Iron Man. I remember being in the theater for another movie, and the trailer came out. It was the first trailer that they had released that I saw, I guess. And no, it was the first trailer, because I think it was like, what movie was it? I think it might have been like Cloverfield or something like that. But it was back in the day when, like, the first time they released a trailer wasn't online. It was like before another major big blockbuster movie. And I remember sitting next to my friend Justin Connors, and when the trailer came up and it was Iron Man, I remember looking over at him going, like, is Iron Man, like, what? Is Iron Man a character that's gonna have enough pull to have his own movie? Because it's hard to go back and imagine a time where it was like the only superheroes Hollywood cared about were, like, Batman and Spider-Man. I mean, sure, there were Superman movies, like Marvel, through Sony and Fox. We had, the X-Men and Daredevil and Ghost Rider, but the 90s era of superhero movies was, you never went to go see a superhero movie thinking it was going to have, like, anything really relatable to the comics. Like, sure, you were going to have the heroes, their names, their powers, the villains, their names, their powers. Sometimes they even took liberties with that. But it was like the movie, they just don't know how to capture the page to the screen when it comes to comic books in the 90s. And then things like Iron Man happened, and then Watchmen, and like, you know, even Thor was really cool. And I was like, how was a Thor movie cool? And like the building of the MCU, like they nailed it. And once Guardians of the Galaxy was announced and came out, and they nailed it. It was perfect. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect superhero movie. Like I don't think there's anything that could have been done better. Like they went hard comic book. I mean, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, like to have one of your main characters only say "I am Groot" over and over, like again in comics, it was like, yeah, okay, cool, fun, that's fun. But to make that like to bring that character into a major motion, gigantic budget film, it was bonkers. But it didn't feel bonkers after watching the movie, and having after seeing the movie, it was like that wasn't crazy at all. Like they made it work. They made it make sense. Like it was they knocked it out of the park. But then somewhere after, and that whole lead up, the whole Infinity Saga, the whole lead up to Endgame and Infinity War was brilliantly executed. Like there are better movies than others in that whole era, but none of the movies were like awful. None of the movies had a one-time viewing appeal. You know what I mean? Like even Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World gets a lot of like flack, I guess. But I don't know, man. Go back and watch it. It wasn't terrible. Like it was it's not the Thor that we have now. Like Thor the Dark World was still like a noble Thor. You know, it wasn't comic relief Thor, which I like comic relief Thor too. Ragnarok, where we got, you know, the funny, goofy Thor. Like, amazing. Amazing. Did I say Ragnarok? We used to call this podcast Radnarok. So sometimes I'll still slip up, and when I'm talking about Thor Ragnarok, I say Radnarok, and people are like, what? But sometimes, you know, I don't I don't enunciate very well, and, you know, it sounds like it could have just been a mistake. But no, I definitely was very accustomed to saying Radnarok. But anyway, yeah, so all of that was incredible. And then Infinity War happens. And after that, it just felt like we went on this slope into it. Just it was like up, Infinity War, Endgame, like that was the peak, and it went on this weird decline. Like they didn't have a very clear path forward. After Infinity War, it just really seemed like they were making movies, superhero movies, just to as money grabs. And that went back to like superhero movies of the 90s, where they all just felt like money grabs. They all just felt like cash grabs. But back in the 90s, we still watched all the superhero movies because that's all we were getting. Like there was no gold standard. Blade was cool. Blade was very cool. Blade wasn't like MCU level of epicness, but it was like the best of what we were getting. And it was on the right path. that was the movie where it was like, yeah, this is how I wish like they all were. Ben Affleck's Daredevil, not terrible, but it still had like definite. Just why is his suit so leathery and shiny? Like it was. They couldn't, and like saying like they couldn't find like the element of realism that was needed, I guess, because when you're talking about a genre of movies with a talking tree, it's kind of like to say that it needed a sense of realism is kind of bonkers, right? It's like, how can you say realism is needed, but then like follow it up with, and then they got the talking tree perfect. More water. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. But anyhow, but I mean, like, really though, you know what I mean? Like, in the MCU, the costumes felt like they made sense. It's like that's the logical course you would take in developing how, I mean, Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, because all the Netflix stuff is MCU, and it was just like it was very, I don't know. I guess it had that touch of realness that had severely been lacking in the superhero movies, of the past. But yeah, Infinity War happens. They did the whole Infinity Saga from the jump. Really, I don't know if Thanos and the Infinity Stones was like in their mind all the way back to Iron Man 1. I don't know if that was the course they were headed in. But I guess it kind of was, because what was the end credit scene for? Oh yeah, the end credit scene. Yeah, the end credit scene for Iron Man was Nick Fury coming forward and being like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers initiative. So the Avengers was definitely always in the ether when, I mean, all the way back to Iron Man 1, the kickoff to the MCU. But the way that they built the greater story so seamlessly into all these individual movies was, I mean, it's the comic book arc leading up to an event. Like, all these characters have their own runs. Things will happen in these books that lead you into the next big event. And they translated the how comic books worked into movies, and that was incredible. After Infinity War, though, it, to me, because I know that they still had no, they didn't. I take that back. The end credit scenes became an expectation of the audience, but once they stopped relating to a greater story event, and they were just kind of like, gags, I guess you could say. Like, which one was it? Was it Ant-Man and the Wasp, or was it Ant-Man, where one of the scenes, like, I don't know if it was the mid-credit or the end credit, it was like a giant ant playing drums or something. Am I making that up, or am I remembering that correctly? It all started becoming that. It all started becoming just kind of like, huh? Like, okay. So the first movie after Infinity War was Spider-Man Far From Home, right? And that was the one where he fought Mysterio. And then the end credit scene to that one was Nick Fury up on the sword base. And I was like, oh, what's coming now? Oh, so, we're going to get some like intergalactic. And then that kind of just dissipated. It didn't really relate to much else. It related back into the Secret Invasion Disney Plus series, but beyond that, it was just kind of like, okay. And then, so they gave us that right off the bat, coming off Infinity War, and then they started hinting towards, like, Kang the Conqueror, and then they started dabbling in Doctor Strange. What was that one called? Doctor Strange, something into Madness, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, we started playing with the multiverse there, and then we got the multiverse with Doctor Strange again in the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home or something like that. So we had Nick Fury in space, and then the multiverse coming into play. And to me, it was like, so which way are we going? Are we going multiversal? Are we doing Kang? Or are we following Nick Fury into space? So that kind of like discouraged me a bit. And then they started like introducing, Moon Knight came into play, where it's more of like the dark mystical side of Marvel. So now we have that and space and the multiverse, and it just started getting it felt too convoluted, and it was like, what are we following? What's going to be the next big thing? And I guess ultimately it was supposed to be Kang, and they did, they did dive much further into that with the third Ant-Man movie. What was it? Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know, where they went into the microverse, but they don't call it the microverse. What do they call it? I forget what they call it. And that played into like the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, where Scott gets trapped in the microverse for a little bit, and that they ultimately like, oh, we can use that for time travel. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's just kind of I'm losing myself here. Like I'm getting burned out trying to like just talk about all of it. So yeah, anyway, long story short, they ended up with Kang. Kang got canceled, but luckily for them, Kang wasn't the only Secret Wars that Marvel has done in the comics. And with all this new introduction to like the multiverse and stuff, there's another Secret Wars story where the multiverse plays a gigantic role, wherein all the universes are smashing into each other. All the Earths from all these parallel universes, they're all like the center point of each respective universe. And when these things called incursions started happening, where like the Earths of different universes somehow like collided into each other, and it would destroy both subsequent universe. That is, I remember reading that in Secret Avengers. I think it was a Hickman run, and it was, man, his writing is just like so hard to like wrap your head around as is, but this concept was like, wow. And I really hope they get this right, because that's the way they're going. So the way they're going now, with Secret, Secret Wars, the first one was Kang the Conqueror would pull like heroes and villains into this like, I don't know, in between dimension and make them fight, and that was the Secret Wars. Well, the second Secret Wars was these incursions where Earths are colliding and destroying universes, and it all comes to a head where this new realm called Battle World was developed, and Battle World was made up of chunks was made up of pieces from the various Earths across the multiverse. So you had like these, kind of like what if ish feeling stories, all meshed together. And that's where we got, Peter Parker and Miles Morales meeting. It was during that event, and yeah, it's interesting how it all laid, how it's all been laid out. Because from what I understand, we are getting a battle world. In the comics, Doctor Doom was like the god of this battle world, and at Comic-Con, they confirmed. I don't know. They confirmed we were getting a Fantastic Four movie before this Comic-Con, and then they further confirmed that we will be getting. I mean, if you get Fantastic Four, you're gonna have to get Doctor Doom. So we're getting Doctor Doom, and I don't know if this is like common knowledge, commonplace knowledge, but it being Secret Wars, Doctor Doom is going to create this new reality, I guess you could call it. And the reveal of who is playing Doctor Doom was gigantic and unexpected, and just like, this could be genius is what I'm getting at. I haven't seen Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine yet, but from what has been expressed is Deadpool and Wolverine is our new starting point for where the MCU will ultimately be going. So I don't know what that means about all these other movies that led us here, that seemingly felt like they didn't have a place. I don't know if that's just going to be a dark period in the MCU where it's like, no, don't necessarily go out of your way to see the Marvels, or hey, remember the Eternals? Remember that was a movie, The Eternals? that was a movie. That was a banger of a cast as well. And I'm willing to bet a ton of people out there forget the Eternals had anything to do with the MC. Like, it was a movie at all. Shang-Chi was a movie. Remember that one? That one was fine, I guess. But that was another one of those like post-Infinity War movies where I'm like, what? I don't know. Feels like you're trying to do something here that is too detached from the rest. And I did not appreciate the adaptation of the Mandarin in that movie. I really did not like how they portrayed such a iconic villain. I like what they did in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. I loved that version where it was like the Mandarin is just a mantle held by there's a real Mandarin out there, but like this character that we got in Iron Man 3 who was quote unquote the Mandarin wasn't actually the Mandarin. It was this other guy, but that guy wasn't actually the Mandarin either. There's another dude who's the real Mandarin. It's the leader of this terror organization called the Ten Rings, and it's just like, oh, that's so cool because in the comic books, the Mandarin had like 10 magical rings. Anyway, and he always fought Iron Man too. You know what's really weird? Like Iron Man's greatest foe was the Mandarin, and he was a wizard kind of guy. He wasn't a wizard; he was using alien tech, but it was like very. It always seemed like the Mandarin should have squared off with Doctor Strange more, but that's just my, my weird insight. Where are we going? Oh, and then like Black Panther 2. Like what was that all about? The war between Wakanda and Atlantis, like that's so out of place. And then spoilers, at the end they become friends, Namor and Shuri. And this is a hill that I will die on. Chadwick Boseman did a mind, no, not even like I was gonna say like a mind-bendingly amazing job. He was a perfect adaptation of T'Challa. I've been a big Black Panther fan since like '98 from the Marvel Knights run. And I really liked the Black Panther that we got in the MCU. I thought it was a perfect adaptation of the character. And I understand that in real life, the actor portraying T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, passed away. I understand that. That's the curse of reality, is in reality, people pass away and they don't come back. In comic books, people pass away and come back all the time. What I'm getting at is, I think it was a misstep not recasting T'Challa. I understand that it was done out of respect for Chadwick Boseman. I understand that it was in honor of him. Like, well, we're not gonna have another actor portray Black Panther out of respect to, like, you can't let the real world mess with Fantasyland. You know what I mean? Like, Black Panther as a character is greater than any actor that would ever play him. You know what I mean? Like, the character shouldn't be hindered because of the things that happen in reality. And I don't think it would have been a disrespectful move to cast another actor to give us more of this incredible character. Yeah, it's just one of a few things I hope they repair in what's to come in this MCU Take Two kind of thing. But anyway, the reveal of who's playing Doctor Doom is it's Robert Downey Jr. And that's I'm so curious if he's going to be related to Tony Stark at all. You know what I mean? Like, are characters who knew Tony Stark going to see Doctor Doom and go like, hey, oh man, you look familiar? Is he supposed to be the Tony Stark of another universe that, this is the path he took? Like, there's so many questions still that are big questions in the casting of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. But what Robert Downey Jr. said on stage after the announcement was, he said, "New mask, same task," which to me meant I've come back to, like, yet again build this epic Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm excited about it. You know, it was a really bold move, a very, very bold move for them to bring Robert Downey Jr. back as somebody completely different than Iron Man, like, you know, and not just a different character than Iron Man, but a giconic. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna gigantic and iconic entity within Marvel. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where all this goes. Like, at the end of it, how many Spider-Men are we gonna have? Who's gonna be like? This is an opportunity for them to recast all the characters we lost, recast anybody who's currently, you know, like Chris Hemsworth. You know, if he's done playing Thor, where here's an opportunity where we can get another Thor. Chris Evans retired from being Captain America, or Steve Rogers retired from being Captain America. Here's an opportunity for us to get another Steve Rogers. I know that we have Sam Wilson, like Falcon, as Captain America. I don't know, man. It's fine, I guess. He was Captain America for a little bit in the comic books as well, but it was just like, he's Falcon. You know, let him be Falcon. Captain America's a super soldier. Like, that's his power set. You know, wings and a bird motif is not Captain America. It's Falcon. So it's just how I've always felt about that specifically. I even, like, when Bucky Barnes, when the Winter Soldier became Captain America for a little while, it still worked for me because he was a super soldier. Like, Captain America, it's supposed to be an individual with extraordinary human abilities. You know, he's not a tech user. Yeah, so I think this is a brilliant move. I think it's a brilliant move to utilize characters that we've known from the past, which I understand there's a lot of those in Deadpool Wolverine, which we really have to take the time to go see. It's rough, man. It's challenging. It's challenging finding people to watch our kids so we can go have a date night. It's on our list of things to do, though. I'm not sure when we're gonna do it, but we're definitely gonna make it happen. Yeah, I'm excited. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the potential of the MCU again. I really feel like we're gonna get back into focusing on what matters with these films, and that's just awesome, compelling, surprising storytelling. And if that does end up being the case, then I'm okay with jumping back on board and viewing the post Infinity War era as just like filler. You know what I mean? Just something to keep the characters' names alive and just something to exist while they, you know, expanded into adding heroes into like Disney parks and stuff like that. So for more of an in-depth you know, discussion on announcements like, you know, like Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom, and the things to come at the Disney parks and Disney movies and all that kind of stuff. You keep a lookout for the Legacy of Leal podcast and subsequent vlog. And yeah, I'm burnt. It's 2:00 in the morning now. I don't know how long I've been doing this. I don't know if any of it really made sense. I remember giving a breakdown on, the current state of Leal Legacy and what we have going on all over the place, and then how Starbucks coffee sucks, and then a long MCU rant. It's the muscle, man. I'm just trying to exercise this podcast muscle and eventually maybe bring you stuff that you care to listen to. But this is what I cared to talk about right now. And that's what this podcast is. It's just kind of stream of consciousness for whatever's on my mind in the moment. But really, though, go scope out our other channels, subscribe, like. We got the Legacy Club. We have Legacy View. We got Leal Legacy Gaming. We got Legacy of Leal and Leal Legacy Music. Everything you can find over at leallegacy.com. Scope out our store, the Legacy Club clothing store. Got new stuff going up there all the time. Transitioning into our new seasonal selections, which, guess what? It's all Halloween stuff. And yeah, bunch of stuff in the works. Bunch of stuff will be coming out. It's a new era. It's a new dawning. It's a new era for the MCU and a new era for Leal Legacy. And you know what? The two could not be... I don't know where I was going with that. It's just cool. It's cool how that's lining up. It's ultimately what I guess I wanted to say. But anyhow, find us still, Leal Legacy, across all your favorite social media platforms. And yeah, thanks for being a friend. Telling a friend. Until next time.